Student protection. This video outlines your student protection training responsibilities and how you can contribute to the well-being of students at Iona College. As a member of our college community, you play an important role in maintaining a safe and supportive learning community for our students. Recognising abuse and harm. Child abuse is any act or failure to act that leads to the harm of a child or young person. There are 4 types of child abuse. Physical abuse. Physical abuse is when a child has suffered or is at risk of suffering non-accidental physical trauma or injury. Physical abuse does not always leave marks or injuries. It is not how bad the mark or injury is, but rather the act itself that causes injury or trauma to the child. Examples of physical abuse include hitting, shaking, burning, or poisoning. Neglect. Neglect occurs when a child's basic necessities of life are not met and their health and development are affected. Emotional abuse is when a child's social, emotional, cognitive, or intellectual development is impaired or threatened due to the persistent rejection, hostility, criticism, teasing, bullying, yelling, and/or exposure to domestic and family violence. Sexual abuse. Sexual abuse occurs when an adult, dominant child, or adolescent uses their power or authority to involve a child in a sexual activity. Sexual abuse can be physical, e.g. oral sex, fondling, rape; verbal, e.g. talking to children in a sexually explicit way that is not age or developmentally appropriate; or emotional, e.g. showing children pornographic films or photographs. What is harm? Harm is the impact of the abusive action on a child or young person. Without effective support, harm experienced in childhood can have long-term effects on individuals and communities. Types of harm. As a result of abuse or neglect, children and young people can experience physical harm, emotional harm, and psychological harm. What is unacceptable risk of harm? A child is considered to be at unacceptable risk of suffering harm if you believe that unless someone takes preventative action, the actions of a person will or will be likely to have a significant impact on the child's physical, emotional, and/or psychological well-being. Who might hurt a student? Family member, parent or carer, sibling, grandparent. Someone in the school, staff member, volunteer, other student. Student himself through engaging in self-harming behaviour, cutting self, burning, drug use. Another person in the community, coach, bus driver, stranger. React, how might you find out about harm or risk of harm to a student? Disclosure, a student may tell you that they are being harmed. Observations, through your own observation of a student appearance or behaviour. Adult shares concerns. Another adult, parent, relatives, families, and friends may share their concerns about a student's safety or well-being with you. Student share concerns. Another student may tell you they are concerned about another student's safety or well-being. What should you do when a student or someone else tells you about harm? Listen. Be calm and patient. Allow the student or person to hear. Let the student or person use their own words. Reassure. Reassure the student or person that it is okay to tell you what has been happening. Reassure the student or person he is not at fault and is not the cause of any distress you may feel. Explain. Explain to the student or person that you need to tell an appropriate member of staff about these concerns to find out how best to protect the student. Affirm. Affirm the student or person for having the courage to tell someone. Thank the student or person for trusting you enough to share his concern. Confidentiality. Remember, it is vital to maintain appropriate confidentiality for the protection of all involved. Report. Who should I report my concerns to? You should report your concerns to the rector or any of the student's protection contacts. More information and the relevant reporting forms can be found on the college intranet. What happens after a report? Once you have reported the suspected harm of a student, the Rector of Student Protection Contact will do whatever is necessary to make sure the student is safe.